Good afternoon, magFAST, and welcome to another Saturday showcase. We had absolutely no technical difficulties before this, I assure you, and we are ready to start on a time. Might not have been the time, but we are here now, and we're ready to have some fun and raise some money for Child's Play. We are this week, as we are every week, taking donations for Child's Play. You can donate right here on Twitch. All donations go directly to Child's Play, and we got a fun run for you. Today it might be more fun for some than others, but to tell us more about it, I'll toss it over here to Race Big Dog. Take it away.
Hi. Well, Debbie, will you say hello?
Sure, I'm Debbie and Sean. I'll be doing this run today. And here on comms
Race Big Dog.
Race Big Dog.
That's me. So we're just gonna get it going. I'm gonna give a countdown, and we'll sort of explain what's happening as you see it. Runner, to your mark. Get set. Go. So, today's game, as you've already seen, is Spyro the Dragon 1998, and we are doing the Sparxless 120% category. That means we have to manually collect all 14,000 gems, 14 eggs, and free 80 dragons. Right at the start here, rather, there's a lot going on, so we're just gonna talk through it as it happens. We're collecting our first dragon here, Nestor, the only one with unskippable dialogue. We usually skip the dialogue because it's a speedrun. We don't have time to listen to those things. However, if we hit that goal of 700 in total donations, we will listen to some of Debbie's favorite dragons. As soon as Nestor's done yapping, we go ahead and collect our first couple gems and head into our first level. It is a flight level, which works a little bit differently than most other levels in the game, and we'll sort of talk about those mechanics as we see them.
Well, we're going to see a big unskippable cutscene here at the end. As a spoiler, a 2-minute unskippable cutscene, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, as the name suggests, in a flight level, Spyro is flying. And he's trying to collect some number of objectives with a timer counting down, as you can see in the top right there. For casual gameplay, there's usually sort of an obvious route, but for speedrunners, they're sort of doing all sorts of things, like some camera manipulation type stuff. They know sort of exactly what the cleanest lines are from objective to objective, and most notably, they're trying to fly as low as possible. In these flight levels, the interesting sort of mechanic there is that the lower Spyro is flying, the faster he's flying. So you kind of got to balance trying to get from objective to objective while also taking that line to get down lower and then right back up to the objective. And of course also being careful not to accidentally drop too low and hit that water.
Yeah.
It's scaring us there.
It looks a lot scarier than that is, although yeah, if you're too low you can get pushed into the water by that crystal. Alright, coming up to the end of the flight level here, and here we go.
Just as quickly as we arrived. We're out of here. First level done. Applause. Everyone in your home, please applaud.
Thank you for the applause.
Yeah. And now we enter sort of the game in earnest. Every homeworld has a flight level, but sort of just the one. What we're doing now is we're going to sort of see these mechanics of charging, flaming, jumping, gliding, and manually collecting gems. This is sort of the big thing with Spyro Sparxless. We don't have our good buddy Sparx, that golden dragonfly, who will usually sort of give us a radius of clearance where gems will be collected by Sparx and thrown to Spyro. Without Sparx, we have to go ahead and touch them all manually. That means that a lot of this run is very, very tight. This first level, Dark Hollow here, is a pretty good example of some of these lines. It's nothing too fancy, but there are some sort of awkward gem placements that you wouldn't really think about it when you're doing it with Sparx, like these two coming up here. They're a little bit tight.
Those, right?
Yeah, they're a little tight and a little bit more particular to touch when you're trying to do it fast and effectively.
So this run is all about getting those lines, trying to find the shortest lines, but some of those short lines don't look particularly short because we have to touch all of these gems manually. It's a gem appreciation mode for Spyro.
Yeah. something like that platform right there, this layout is, normally with Sparx, you hop on there and Sparx just does all the work. In this mode, you have to go ahead and figure out how you're going to most efficiently collect all 4 of those gems. One other thing that you'll sort of see throughout the entirety of the run is that as we collect dragons, there's sort of a correct, or maybe optimal side from which to collect the dragon. And that is another thing you want to take into consideration when you're doing these lines. So oftentimes there will be gems near a dragon, which sort of come into that calculation of, I want to touch this dragon in a particular way in order to free it most efficiently. But I also have to collect these gems. So there's now a much tighter, much more sort of awkward line to get to that dragon.
As you can see here, I touched Darius on that side, and Spyro walked back to a set position there. That's exactly what Crazy is saying. You want to minimize that walking time. So I touch him exactly there, the best possible time.
Yeah, Debbie's going to be more or less trying to charge as often as possible. That's not only an attack mechanic, it's just sort of one of the quicker ways to get around from place to place. But when you free a dragon, Spyro sort of has that little bit of cutscene where he has to walk to his spot where he'll listen to the dragon. Of course, we're skipping that. And that's slower than charging. So we want to make sure we're making contact with that dragon as close to his predetermined spot as possible. Now we're entering Toasty here, which is the first boss level. Each homeworld has a boss level, and Toasty's one of the, well, in my mind, one of the scarier ones. I think as a kid, I was pretty terrified of this level. It's pretty non-trivial to do Sparxless, because the other thing that Sparx does, besides hatching gems for you, is he works as sort of a health bar. Sparx has 3 colors, gold, blue, and green, which mean 3, 2, and 1 hits that you can take before Sparx disappears, and you are Sparxless. Without that sort of ability to absorb damage for you, you don't have Sparx. Any hit is a death, and will sort of set you back to either the start of the level or wherever you last touched a dragon.
This level is particularly punishing because there's a dragon coming up, but that's right before the boss. And the hard part is before the dragon, so... Very close.
Well done. Yeah. I mean, that's a fairly clean Toasty so far.
Anyway, we're coming up to the boss here. And it's scary.
Yeah, look at this boss. Canonically, one of Nasty Nork's most
devious essentially.
Yeah. However, you give him 2 flames and you find out it's just a sheep on stilts. A devious sheep, mind you, but it's just a sheep.
I mean, in the end, aren't we all just sheep on stilts? And that's Toasty. No deaths. Pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah, that's very clean. Another small round of applause.
Golf claps only, please.
Yeah.
Dance around that chest for a second.
Let's see. Yeah, not just any sheep. Fair enough, Molly. Feel free to switch the audio so that it's in sync with the video whenever.
Okay, well, when I do that, I need Debian to mute the mics on stream. And so I wanted to be able to pause so we don't lose any content. And I also wanted to do it between stages. So just let me know.
Cool.
Should be able to fix that now.
Cool. Will there be game audio? Because on Discord we're not streaming game audio. So should I just stream? Okay.
Yeah, on your stream, if you just mute your microphone and commentary, I can turn them on my end. So we'll
I see.
adjust the game for you.
So I'll do that here at the next level load. I'll let you know.
Perfect. I'll turn it on. And I might have to tweak some audio levels, but it should be mostly good. Sorry about
no sweat.
the improvisation.
What we're seeing by the way, or what we saw earlier was our first egg thief. I just want to point that out. There will be more, and we'll talk about them. But they're these little blue guys who are stealing dragon eggs. So we've got 1 of 14 at this point.
They're only 12.
Or 12. I guess
I don't know,
you're
maybe
not
they have
getting-
2 in reserve, right?
I was say, I guess you're not getting the 2 extra dragon eggs.
Uh-huh.
I think I was thinking of 14,000 gems.
Oh, that was a bad astro touch. You see how he had to do the little walk of shame all the way back to that position because I touched him a little bit too far around? That's, exactly the sort of seconds that we're trying to shave off. The run itself is not, there aren't any big glitches in the run that we're really going for. Not many big out of bounds or anything like that. It's just chaining these movements together, often using single frame inputs to just cut quarter second here, half a second here, several hundred times over the course of the run.
That was a very clean Lindar.
Thank you.
This room is a little different in Sparxless versus in Sparks Full, I guess, in that sort of those lines of chests you can usually get in one circle with sparks, but there's just a single gem that makes that line impossible in Sparxless.
Okay, cool. So we're coming to the end of the level, so I'm going to mute my mic here, and we can switch over audio.
Okay. So they should be able to hear the game from the stream and Discord. PBD, would you care to...
Cool. Yep. I'm here. We've rescued Tomas, who usually makes a Parappa the Rappa reference, right?
Yeah, later on he will.
Yeah. Maybe we can hear that.
Yep, just a reminder, we have a donation incentive. We're golden? Okay, cool. We have a donation incentive. All donations here are going towards Child's Play, but if you give us a donation of, I don't know, some amount of money? What do you think, Praise? How much money should we make it? If you give us find it in your heart to give a little bit of money here to Child's Play, we'll stop and listen to some of our favorite dragon cutscenes along the way.
Yeah. I was saying just if we hit that 700 mark was my thought.
That's pretty good.
Let's be a little ambitious, but it doesn't seem unreasonable. The Spyro community has strong opinions about liking charity, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least we can.
Dragon cutscenes.
We can establish that now. So we're gonna see a new type of chest receptacle here, a spring chest. And that was it. Essentially, you just have to damage the chest, and its gem flies up, and then you have to collect it. It's one of those things that seems a little bit trivial, but it's exactly the sort of thing Debbie was mentioning, where enough times throughout the course of the game, you get that efficiently, and you're saving yourself, handfuls of seconds, if not. Well, depending on how bad you are at it casually, you might be saving minutes as well. I know I would be. Also, that was our second egg thief. Oftentimes, the egg thieves will run just laps around the map, either slightly slower than Spyro, or in such a way that Spyro kind of has to get the jump on them. Of course, for speedrunners, getting the jump on them is pretty trivial usually. It's the kind of thing where, they know where that egg thief is going to be, where they're heading, and can just sort of launch out a flame ahead of them, get them usually before they even notice. With this run, there's a few sort of places where or is it just that one maybe?
There are a few, in fact.
Okay, yeah, there are a few places where the gem placement around the egg thief makes it actually impossible to get it before they notice. You can get it very quickly, but they do manage to get a couple steps away. So, they feel the terror.
All right, that was the last homeworld in this, the last level in this homeworld. So we're just cleaning up a little bit here, and pass through those guys, get these last gems, and we're on to the balloonist to the next homeworld.
just like that. 13-ish minute, 14-ish minutes. Let's see when we hop into the next homeworld. Just like that. 13 minutes in, and we've cleared a homeworld. That's 1/6 of the game done, more or less.
Easy. Hopefully, it's also simple, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't finished this game, so we'll see together what comes up.
So I believe there's a reference you want to explain as we get into this homeworld, right?
Yeah. So listen to what this enemy here to my right makes when you kill him. Let's see.
Bless you.
Sounds like someone violently sneezing, doesn't it? You know, I never thought about that, but friend of the channel Gladbags pointed that out. Just how much these guys here sound like someone who's really sneezing.
And now we just can't unhear it.
Yeah, right?
We hope you can't unhear it too. Now we're into our second
flight level.
Yeah, our second flight level, which is the only flight level where all the objectives are stationary, which means something wonderful that I make Debbie say every time. What does it mean, Debbie?
Every mistake I make is completely my own fault.
There it is.
Let's see if I don't make a mistake here, huh?
Yeah. Fingers crossed. But it's one of those things where it's these chests are a great way to point it out. Spyro's flame is sort of a cone in front of him, and as he moves, that cone moves with him. So you get speedrunners who are really trying to get these chests and all of their objectives with the very edge of Spyro's flame in order to cut these lines as close as possible. That was very well done. But if you cut that line too close, you miss the thing, you have to circle back, and it eats up a bunch of time. In a place like this, where everything's stationary, fully on you for being a little too eager. But we can understand it. We won't mock you too much. Well done.
Well, luckily we got through that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and good thing we saw that gem.
Yeah. So here we've got another egg thief coming up where
this guy didn't even move.
Didn't even get a step away.
I think we have some time to read out these 3 donations we have, right?
Oh wow. Yeah. We've got or should I do that, or will is that on me?
I can if you want.
Okay. I didn't know if it was gonna be Patera here or me.
We're not gonna make. We made.
No, you made it. Wow, well done. So we've got our $15 from Abiding Phantom, $15 from Cinder Dragon, or Dragon, and $25 from Ant. Thank you all, Antam. We appreciate that. It's going to a good cause. Now, Dry Canyon introduces us to a new type of chest here, a thing called a fan chest. Now, if you pay attention, you'll see that a projectile flies off of this thing. There's a little tough to see there in the midst of all the debris. But if you listen closely, the Nork also gets you hear sort of a Nork sound. Those fans become projectiles that can actually hurt enemies. And a little bit later in the level, you'll see that fan flew off and went to a different bit of the route and went ahead and took care of an enemy for us. That's sort of used a couple of times throughout the run. But in this one, you'll sort of just see a pink gem, a 25 gen, just sort of sitting around, no enemy to speak of, and that's because we were able to sort of strategically use that flame to get that enemy well ahead of time.
Now's maybe a good time to talk about the values of gems. So you see some of these gems I'm collecting have different colors. That's not just aesthetic. Those have different values, so they count for different amounts of treasure. The red ones count for 1, the green ones count for 2, the blue ones count for 5, the yellow ones count for 10, and this one we'll see right here, this pink gem, first one we'll see in the run, is 25, so very variable.
And a very stylish way to get your first pink gem.
Let's go back up that chest. So coming up here in the route, we have another egg thief we have to get. He's pretty easy. There we are. But we will eventually get to really one of the few tricks in the run, something called spin jump. So we're going to line ourselves up to get to a platform that's just out of reach casually. We're going to line ourselves up, spin around, and charge up onto it. And that saves a good 20 seconds over the course of the run, allowing us to go through the route just once rather than twice, allowing us to prevent some backtracking. So we'll see that in just a second here. Right here. Kill these enemies. And let's see if we can get it. Oop. There we are. You're not supposed to be able to make that jump. Usually it involves running around this tower twice and flying back. Oop. A little bit close.
Bonk. Yeah, that jump is one of those things where the developers of the game seem to have intended for, in a very sort of 90s video game fashion, you to sort of do this portion of the map a second time to collect a thing that you couldn't quite get the first time. In one of the levels coming up, we'll see that sort of designed very prominently in the sort of layout of the level. But by using mechanics that are totally native to the game and just chaining them tightly enough, you're able to squeeze out just enough height to get up there. Now those gems there were from a firework chest, by the way. We'll see more of those. And it's worth pointing out because usually in the run where you have sparks on you, you can just charge those and all the gems will come out and it'll be that much faster. In the Sparxless version, you have to flame them and sort of run away, go do something else to sort of work towards progress, and then come back when those gems are on the ground and collect them manually instead.
Alright, so we're coming up to Cliff Town, which is one of my favorite levels, but I have to admit, there's a part here at the beginning that I'm pretty rough at in Sparxless. Collecting some of these gems makes a line pretty tricky, and we might see our first death here. Let's hope we don't.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't be 120% if you didn't see the death screen at least one time.
Hey, we didn't.
Wow,
There
well
we go.
done. Well
That
done.
little jump there looks fairly clean, fairly easy, but because we have to collect the 2 red gems right before, it makes the lineup a lot harder than it is in a normal 120 run.
Yeah.
In fact, I took that a little bit slower. If you're a speedrunner, you may have noticed I took a little bit of a pause there just to line myself up. In a way, you don't really need to that much in 120.
Yeah, to the casual eye, it's pretty tough to see some of those things, but like we've said, it's a lot of just small movements, very precise things that change and also that sort of have to get done even sort of in the standard run. So this whole area to the left here was something where you'd want to be climbing these stairs with the thought of, all right, I'm going to go back to the left there, fly onto that high up platform and get things. But again, via just sort of conserving some momentum here, and we could really get into that, but I don't know that we have to. Via just conservation of momentum and sort of squeezing out these barely possible jumps through particular chains of movement, we've cleared out just about everything without having to sort of backtrack and probably burn a minute or so, if not more, climbing up high, jumping to a lower down platform that you couldn't reach otherwise, and back and forth. Now, one interesting thing that's sort of coming up and worth mentioning is these vultures. We've seen them in previous levels, but one of the sort of cool things about them is their hitbox. It's a little wonky and kind of below where you actually see them. So rather than waiting for them or having to jump up and do very much, you can just sort of like charge the post that they're sitting on and catch them, and their gem will home in on you, which is nice and convenient for us because their cycles can get a little out of whack.
Got a donation comment for you from a previous donation whenever you have a moment.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Cool. I think this one is for you two. You'll have to tell me. But it's from Antam. Says, "Hi, I'm Homie Hamburger. Good job so far, Debbie. Praise, Big Dog. You're made of boyfriend material."
Stop.
So thank you for that.
I knew
$25
it was coming. I knew something was coming.
Thanks for that, homie
Thank
hamburger.
you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, homie hamburger. Well, now we clean up what's left on this level, without having to sort of double back and fly from high up, and we're just like that, we're through it.
Now, this level coming up, one of my favorite.
Yeah.
First, so it's a boss level, and it's a really good boss. We'll see his visual design in a second, but also the music in this is so good. So the music in this game. Hey, Trace, do you want to tell us a little bit about the music in this game?
The music in this game is very good, and it was I guess written by somebody who people might be familiar with, maybe if not in name, they'd be familiar with sort of in terms of work. This is a Mr. Stuart Copeland, who is the what did Steven I was gonna say Stephen Colbert. What did Stuart Copeland do, Debbie? Was he what did he do in the Police?
He was the drummer for the Police.
There it is. But yeah, he saw fit to lend his talents to Spyro the Dragon, and we end up with this incredible soundtrack that sort of like stands the test of time.
I love when the bass comes in on this, right here. There we go. That's the jam. Unfortunately, we get through this level so fast, unless some big mistake happens, that we don't even get to hear the whole track. So it's a little bit sad. Love this track so much.
Shouts out to you casual runners and people who are just starting the speed run. That's your reward. You stick to it and you get to hear the music.
Mm-hmm.
Now coming up, we're going to see ourselves this rather stylish boss. He's sort of almost a shame we have to do battle. Look at this character design.
Look at this guy. Metal sandals in the desert.
And I feel like it doesn't get mentioned enough, but the sunglasses, I think they're very cool.
Unfortunate. 3 flames and he's gone. Oh, well, I guess 4 flames and he's gone.
4 flames. Prove us wrong, Dr. Shemp. Go ahead.
As you can see, these bosses in Spyro aren't really anything like a Zelda boss or something you might be expecting. They're pretty easy. They're just a little bit of gimmick, for the most part. There we go. Out of check.
But they're full of character.
And here we are, on to the final level in this homeworld. It's a little bit of a different theme. You know, all these other levels have been deserty. Somehow we're now to Ice Cavern, dark icy world.
I will point out, I won't get into it too much, as I am wont to do, but I feel like maybe this is a nod by the game designers to the fact that Antarctica is the largest desert in the world, because deserts are more about the rainfall that you do or don't get, rather than they are about the temperature of the place. But that's neither here nor there. It's a good level.
So, good fun fact redeem.
Yeah, it's a good level. It's a little twisty. And one of the ones where you can, depending on your route, do some interesting death abuses. Now, a death abuse is sort of taking advantage of the fact that Spyro, when he dies, will respawn at the pedestal of the last dragon he touched, or at the start of the level if he hasn't yet collected a dragon. Sometimes it's the case that you're in a place in the level, having sort of collected everything in that area, and getting back to where the rest of your objectives are would be more time consuming than actually just taking a death and starting from the last dragons that you've touched, their pedestal. In that case, what you're going to want to do is a death abuse, just sort of like, you know, take a hit or jump off something, and route yourself from that previous dragon. This is also a level where the sort of fastest route tends to be doing the level sort of running past a lot of things and then doing the level backwards. And so you'll see that you'll see an intentionality in the way that Debian starts touching some of these dragons, because typically the most effective place to touch a dragon is sort of the natural place where you might meet it. But when you're doing the level backwards, that sort of correct place to grab the pedestal is going to be on the far side from where you see the dragons. You're sort of going backwards. You'll see some fancy, running just past and doing a roll or things like that to sort of get that execution just right.
We haven't died so far in the run. I want to point out, that's a pretty big thing. Usually, Sparxless, you take a few deaths along the way. You just expect it. And it's kind of freeing in that way. It's very zen. But somehow we're on 7 lives here, starting out with 4, collecting a few along the way as safeties, but...
It's non-trivial. And it's also worth pointing out that Debian has been collecting lives along the way because it really is sort of expected. The lives are not necessary to be, to collect in order to beat the game, but there, by the way, was one of those fancy dragon touches. Just ran past it and did a roll. But as I was saying, collecting these lives is not necessary to beat the game. It takes up some time, but you're speedrunning, so why would you do it? You really do expect that, something somewhere is going to hit me.
And unlike a normal 120 route, remember, in this category, any damage we take is a death, and involves us being warped back to that dragon. If we don't want to be warped back to the last dragon we freed, unlike in a death abuse, well, we don't want to take that death.
Sometimes even emotional damage is enough to sort of result in losing.
Yeah, sometimes.
That red gem there, by the way, I'll mention, is difficult to get both in Sparxless and in typical 120s. They just tuck it behind that step in a way that is not conducive to doing the level backwards.
Yeah, if you go about it forwards, then it's a pretty easy gem. It's right there in front of you. But if you go up the level backwards, you have to sort of jump up. You saw me try to dive down and touch it, and it's really hidden. It's a little bit tricky. Anyway, that was Ice Cavern. We just got to clean up a little bit of the homeworld again, and here, a little over half an hour into the run, we're already a third of the way through the game. That bodes pretty well, doesn't it?
Yeah. 2 homeworlds deep, and haven't even had time to watch a full episode of, SVU. what do people watch these days? All I watch is Spyro.
I think they just watch repeats of House or something, right? I think that's what's...
I'm impressed
so as we
that
enter
you're speedrunning and in chat at the same time.
Yeah.
I can't do this.
The Spyro community is famous for that. We have these, 3-second load times. We got to make use of them, right?
It's worth mentioning that as you go through the levels, things do get more difficult. In this case, one of the things that you'll see is that you start facing enemies that can kind of manipulate the terrain. Like these wizards here can make things higher up, but maybe we'll sort of get that guy with the propeller and not have to worry about it.
Right. Now this homeworld, things start to ramp up. It's still not the hardest homeworld, but you will see that some of the movement that we have to do is going to look a little bit more tricky. The gems are going to start to be higher valued, and there's going to be a few more gimmicks in the run that we're going to make use of.
So we've got these ferocious beasts. That's certainly a starting thing. That introduction sort of just to present to you, look at me moving this platform. And here, these stairs. One of the things that sort of is worth thinking about as someone speedruns is, where am I in this cycle, right? There are global cycles going on, which means that things that are in the level that are changing, sort of those stairs becoming a ramp or being stairs again, are just going to sort of continually happen. They're going to cycle through. And it's up to the runner to sort of know, okay, am I going fast enough to be able to do this during this cycle while it is sort of still stairs, or am I going to have to wait because I don't want to sort of slide backwards? Oh, there it is.
There's our first death.
Mazel tov.
It's alright, it's not that bad a death, we just gotta go back here.
So a death there, exactly what I was saying, will sort of affect these cycles. It is something worth sort of, you know, you won't hear Debbie say out loud, but you can maybe, if I stop talking, hear the gears grinding in his head, in my head as well, as I try to form a sentence, as he's trying to figure out, okay, where am I in this cycle? What is the most optimal route as a result?
Luckily though, we got through that right there.
Ooh, dare him. Well done.
And we're back on track.
Yeah, seriously.
As I said, this run is pretty zen. You know, we're going to take some deaths along the way. Some unexpected deaths at least, but we just gotta, you know, play with it, right? We gotta roll with the punches, literally. Okay. There we are.
Nice.
I like to be in a little bit of a different place in that cycle, but because we took those deaths, cycle that we just saw there of that guy moving the platform up was a little bit out. We had to glide around to the side and bait him into lowering the platform.
So coming up, we'll see another example of a fireworks chest, where typically the strategy is just sort of, you know, you have health to spare, charge that flame chest, get those gems real quick. But this time, there's sort of no way we can charge that and still collect it, so we flame it, and then go mess with that other enemy and grab this life and these gems. And we come back, and hopefully that chest is exploded.
And there we go, all those gems you just saw on the ground were from that chest. It's kind of like buffering, you know? We're doing something while this chest is loading.
Yeah. Parallel
That chest is
processing.
being destroyed. Yeah, there you go. Making use of finite resources.
Yeah. But Debbie only has so many threads. We want to use them well. Oh no. Oh no.
What is the route here again?
Who's to say? Oh geez. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, whoa,
What the heck? Run invalid. Game hacked.
Yeah, right? Cheated run.
Yeah. That's a fun place where it seems the developers didn't really see fit to put collision on some part of the polygon there.
They just didn't expect you to fly through the wall, so, you know.
Yeah.
But doing that allows us to bait the thief to run at us, you may have seen. And so we don't need to chase him around that big path that I had to run back around. And it just makes things a little bit quicker.
Yeah. As we said before, some of these thieves are just tough to get sort of casually. They just sort of run slightly slower than Spyro, and you just have to do a loop of their route until you've sort of made up that distance from them having seen you. Now coming up, we're going to see our first example of supercharge. It's this ramp with arrows going down it, which gives Spyro, it's called a supercharge. You can do a lot of fun things with supercharges, most of them not intended, like this, where that chest there was a key chest, which means we otherwise would have had to get a key in order to get through it and get those gems. But now the key, which is elsewhere in this homeworld, has disappeared because we have no need of it.
Alright, now this level, you may remember this if you played this game as a kid. There are these big spiders. They're kind of nightmare fuel. I was afraid of them, at least.
Spider-like creatures. They're something.
Yeah.
This level stressed me out as a kid.
You know, as a speedrunner, this level sometimes still stresses me out.
Yeah. If I was able to get past Toasty, that is, this level would stress me out. Ooh, good dodge. This level also, I will say, has a pretty neat example of what you can do with a supercharge. As I've mentioned, this game has like a lot of momentum-based things going on. One of those things is that with supercharges, you can sort of run up against walls and other such things in a way that lets you turn that momentum into just a really big jump sometimes, or just getting to areas that it doesn't seem like that's what was intended. We don't know just how clever Ted Price was, but it doesn't seem like that's what you were supposed to do.
That there was one example of a little supercharge trick. I dove back down on the supercharge the wrong way, and then used that to carry over and charge through those fireworks chests without taking any damage. So we can do that in Sparxless. We're about to see another supercharged trick here. It's called Bike Caves. There's a long history behind that, but we are going to be using this supercharge and trying to climb up some stairs here. Like this.
Yep.
Ooh.
As I was saying, just sort of...
Ooh, yeah!
Wow, well done.
Very close. No fat on that at all.
Yeah, jeez. And now we get what's called a super flame, right?
Yeah.
Get a little fairy
kiss
kiss. Little Smooch gets Spyro all hot, and his flame suddenly is much, much stronger, able to destroy things that take multiple flames or enemies that usually can't be flamed at all, like this here spider. And thanks to that wonderful bike caves, you can just sort of run through and clean up what's left of that portion of the level.
Those spiders, so you may have noticed that I've been flaming some enemies and charging into others. A dragon that we skipped the cutscene for tells us this, but big enemies are ones you want to flame, and small enemies you can charge. Or flame and charge, rather.
Yeah.
But enemies that are metal, you have to charge, you can't flame. Those guys, those spiders, are big.
They're both, yeah,
And
they're
metal.
both metal and large. You just can't win, unless you have a supercharge or a super flame.
So I'm pretty excited we got that in one try there.
Yeah.
The other run I
Really?
had the other day, we had to go around and do a little death abuse, which is actually my normal 120 route, so it's not that big a deal, but love to see that little movement there.
So coming up, we're going to be able to see a really clean example of a fan chest being used to dispatch a egg thief.
This patch is a nice euphemism there. Okay, so let me turn the camera here so you can see. Oh, we didn't get it. Try this again. Luckily, we have 3 chances. See?
Boom, there he goes, and the egg is collected.
And that is High Caves.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to do a little supercharged trick here, and we're going to actually my favorite level. Favorite level in the entire game.
Is it?
Yeah, such a mood. Oop, you missed down. It's alright.
We got it. Wizard Peak. Yeah, you know what? This is your favorite level, isn't it?
It is, I love it.
Now I think about it. Like really early on in your career, you spent quite some time in this level, huh?
Mm-hmm. And I continue to. I love practicing it. It's a lot of fun. We'll talk a little bit about my history with this level in maybe just a second, but
Yeah.
we're taking this hidden path along the way, jumping over a gem by accident, and so that we're only going to have to do this once. The game developers didn't intend you to easily see this path, and even if you did, you have to go through it multiple times to get all the gems casually, but as speedrunners, we know a little bit better.
Yeah. We've got some tricks up our sleeves.
Oh, we took a little death there.
That's actually a pretty clean place to take a death.
It is, and quite fortunately, right?
Yeah.
You do have to wait for some of these guys to spawn in, but that's all right. Oh, sir. There we go.
So now here, what we're going to see is a pretty fancy use of a supercharge. It's a supercharged turnaround, and then sort of messing with all the sort of walls and polygons, we're going to be able to jump up to a place where we otherwise would have had to wrap around that outside of the level a second time to get there. Now this
Might take me a few tries, but we'll see.
Or just the one, right?
Just one.
Now that trick, that's one that Debbie has a nice history with. I believe your very first Spyro stream ever? Yeah? You tried to
My
get
very
that
first
trick
stream ever. Not even as a speedrunner, I'm just like, I saw some speedruns, I can do that too. Several hours later, I almost got it.
I like the not emphasis on almost there. Several hours later, I almost got it.
Yep. And we're going to take this intentional death abuse here. That's going to teleport us back here so we can supercharge once more. Collect some of these guys here. Okay. And
Well done.
come back over here. So that supercharge is a lot trickier than it looked. It looked probably looked pretty easy. I'll make it look easy. But you're supposed to chain those supercharges together. Have multiple supercharges and charge down them, like we saw on the first supercharge. We went down 2 ramps there. That's how you're supposed to get over there. Let me get that red.
Supercharges are a kind of power-up that stacks. So if you run down one supercharge, you'll see Spyro has this trail behind him that goes from, I think, white to yellow. And then a second one will get it from yellow to red. That's how you know you've definitely done 2 supercharges. But Debbie, essentially, by taking just a rather precise route down that supercharge, I think part of it is if you jump and charge down a supercharge ramp, you'll collect more momentum, be able to go a little bit faster and further. You're able to reach that without having to sort of double back for a 2 supercharge run-up. That also, while I was speaking, was Debbie collecting the last egg of the run, I believe.
That was the last egg of the run, and there we are with the end of that level. That last dragon we talked to, his name's Lucas, and he tells you as a secret, hey, you should try going back to the Artisan's homeworld, which I said we already completed, and you should try jumping on the stones on near the water, right near where you start. Now, that was the first thing we did in the run. It's a hidden level there, I think you mentioned, and that dragon tells you to go back there. Luckily, we're speedrunners. We knew to do that as the first thing on the run anyway, so we're fine.
He really does whisper it too, right? Like, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly. So rarely do we watch these dragon cutscenes. Speaking of, we're pretty close to getting that 700 mark.
Yeah, that's true.
If we do, we get to listen to Cletus for sure. Maybe a few others. Maybe.
So, entering this flight level, you may have seen me like wrap around and do a little bit of weird stuff with my camera to try to get stuck on the portal. It may have looked a little weird. The reason we did that was to get the dragon who is sitting outside of the portal. See, what happens in this game is the level only starts loading when the camera intersects with the plane of the portal. So Spyro continues flying through the portal until the camera intersects there. If we get the camera stuck on the side of the portal, then Spyro will fly through the portal, free the dragon that was sitting there at the start, his name's Boldar, and we'll skip the cutscene. So as we start here, you won't see Boldar. Just an empty dragon pedestal.
Well, what they'll see is an ad, but yeah. If you can imagine in your mind's eye. That's actually the most aggressively you can skip Boldar, is just put an ad over him.
Oh, you're saying an ad, sorry.
Yeah. So now we're in yet another boss level, this one appropriately, very near the end of the homeworld. We're facing now a boss that's, I guess, like a tornado with a hat and a beak, maybe?
No one really knows.
It's Blowhard. Blowhard here. Just sort of an angry tornado that doesn't like Spyro.
Now I take this a little bit slow here because some of the gem collection in Sparxless is a bit annoying. Already not the most confident on this level. The moving platforms, you got to know where you are on the cycle and be able to take what comes to you, but we'll play it a little bit slowly here. We'll just sit here and look at this guy, and then flame him, and then glide over here. Oh, and take a death anyway.
Well, that's not a terrible place to take a death.
Yeah.
Zando, if you figure out that McDonald's ad skip for the Spyro speedrun community, your name will already go down in history, but even more so. Just another feather in your cap. Careful now. While practicing, I saw Debbie do the regular 120 strat of that chest where you just charge it. But in Sparxless, of course, that resulted in death.
I think I may have been answering a linguistics question at the same time, too, so even better.
For those who don't have context, Debbie's day job is linguistics. And on his channel on Discord, for some number of channel points, I think 100, you're able to get him to do just a little bit of his day job and answer a linguistics question for you. It's pretty fun. And what we found out through countless trials is the part of your brain that does speedrunning and the part of the brain that does linguistics is they're pretty closely connected and they interfere with each other.
Yeah, it turns out your Broca's area really is very strongly implicated in speedrunning. Ooh, that was a little close.
So this is another place where the levels get a little bit harder. As you can see, the gimmick is on this home world is a lot of sort of electricity going around, and Terrace Village is going to be a really great place for sort of showcasing that. Those things are global cycles, so it's worth knowing, like, am I going fast enough that I can run here, or am I about to get shocked if I try? And in Sparxless, that's a pretty big deal, because you get shocked and you're sent back to your previous dragon or started level. Where in typical 120, again, you might just sort of take the hit and keep going.
We're going to see that here in a minute. There's a big cycle that we're going to have to play it by ear, what we do, but once we get that cycle, we got to go fast. We have to sort of stay in the cycle to make sure we don't take any damage.
Ooh, that is actually a really good question. If you redeem those channel points on Devian's channel, Zando, I'll take a look.
Blue.
Oh, nice. You got the visual glitch there. Oh. So I got a visual glitch. No, just in the background.
You learn as a speedrunner, you don't have to look at the screen all the time. You can be looking at chat.
Just in the background, because one of the platforms was being lit up while the dragons sort of did their thing, the platform just stays lit up.
Right. There we go. Okay, we're going to wait on this cycle right here, and then clean up some of these gems, and we're going to see a little bit of a I wouldn't say glitch, just maybe oversight on the part of the developers.
Yeah. Similar to how we saw Debbie fly through that wall earlier, because he's a cheater. You're going to be able to see Debbie just stand on a platform that's electrified and not take damage. It's one of those things where, I don't know if maybe they knew and they wanted to give the speedrunners just like a little bit of help or something, but they didn't really put any sort of hitbox or damage plane in that area of the platform.
We might have been able to make that cycle, but I was just a little bit slow on it, unfortunately, so I didn't want to risk it.
Oh.
It's that flame. Let's wait on this cycle.
Exactly. Now you sort of have to consider that cycle.
Yeah, copy paste oversight, exactly. And here we are at the end of Paris Villa. Missed a little gem there, but that's alright. We can go back and get him. And this will be the last gem. Nope, we missed a 2 somewhere. Oh boy, now we get to see the fun part.
Right up there?
There it is.
Excellent.
So you may have seen that I flamed a fan chest right up on that little step there. And if you were listening very carefully, you heard the projectile fly up and break a chest. And that chest, well, its gem flew down, and there's a little bit of RNG to the way these gems bounce coming out of chests or out of enemies. And if you get very unlucky, that gem can fall off the cliff. Usually we would have collected up top, and I guess I wasn't really paying attention close enough to see that I didn't collect it. And so that 2 gem we saw there was actually from a chest that we broke. A little bit of RNG. Yeah, temporary brief panic, right?
Yeah.
That's what Sparxless does.
So now we're on to Wild Flight, which, again, a flight level, but sort of one of the more fun, kind of almost peaceful ones, right?
Yeah.
They call
it's cartoony.
Exactly. They call it wild, but it sort of like smells of it exudes just sort of, look at these Norks just sort of chilling on their boats, like, and then we're just ruining their day.
These ones don't even drop gems, if you've noticed.
Yeah, they're just having a good time. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the opportunity to explain something that's been happening here in each flight level so far is a thing called animation skip, where at the end of a flight level, usually Spyro, having collected everything, will fly up and celebrate, and it's a cutscene that takes some time, but there, if you sort of get him to intersect with something, in that case hit the ceiling, while he's doing that animation, it'll just cut you straight to the sort of you're done, get out of the level screen menu, and you'll be able to save that much more time. Yeah,
so there's a remake of this. Yeah, casually. There is a remake of this game called Spyro Reignited Trilogy. It also is a very healthy speedrunning community. The movement engine is a little bit different, so I'm not really that good at that. And Wild Flight, for me, I spent so much time there in the last time I did an SRT run. I spent like a good 10 minutes in that. It is a lot trickier casually.
I just want to say Misty Bog is a difficult level. It's these enemies here also are pretty punishing if they get you. Stressing me out. These enemies are pretty punishing if they get you, not just because of course you die, but because for those sort of turnip looking things, those mound of dirt sort of guys, there's a really long animation, like a 2-day long animation of them chewing you and really savoring you before spitting you out and letting you revive, I guess, restart the segment.
Yeah.
And in fact,
turnips, the sniper frogs, and these bowls all make this a very, very tough level. Ooh. Wow. And missing some little techniques there like that and diving into the water doesn't make it that much better.
Yeah. So, as we've mentioned before, it's very precise chaining of different standard movements that sort of make this speedrun speedy. One of the things that happened there was a sort of, I guess a mistake. I don't know. But
missed input, yeah.
Yeah, missed input. Essentially, if you notice, Spyro does a little bit of twitching on a lot of these jumps and glides. That's because, just based on sort of the momentum mechanics of the game engine, the movement engine, if you get a single frame charge in there between your jump and your glide, you get just a little bit more distance out of your glide. And that sort of jump that we made to get to this area would not be possible otherwise.
There he is. Ooh. Okay. So this level does get a lot harder, and it ends on, I think, the hardest room in the game, both casually and... Ooh, oh my. Both casually and one of the hardest as a speedrunner.
Yeah.
And it has a very infamous standing in the Spyro community. It's a very, very tough room. We'll see it here in just a minute.
It is just a hodgepodge of enemies with sort of, again, cycling behavior, where they have overlapping cycles, and these sniper frogs can sort of get you from anywhere, and if you don't get them at the right time, or if you're not sort of careful about it, you can get enemies sort of blocking for one another in a way that makes it impossible to sort of get through without getting hit. Doing sort of handling this Sparxless is no small feat.
Fortunately, though, before this final room, we have a very satisfying charge. These enemies lined up. Look at this. Oh, I love this.
Just your reward for making it this far. It's so good.
Ooh, almost missed that gem. Okay, I'm gonna need this life here, so let's collect it.
Here we go. 6 lives should be enough.
Let's hope. So we more than likely will see a few deaths here, so don't worry. Don't worry. All in the service of continuing the run. We have a little charge here, which is pretty satisfying. A little bit of mental prep work to get into this room here that we're coming up right now. Oh, we didn't even get in.
So that's why they're called sniper frogs.
Ooh, now we're back to 6 lives. Nice. Okay, let's try that one more time. There we go.
Nice. Well done.
And I'm gonna play this a little bit safe. If you watch my normal 120 route, I'm a little bit more reckless in this room, but because any one hit from these guys, like that, could really take us out. I'm just gonna play it as safe as I can.
One piece of mechanic there that Debbie did just a little bit, like I mentioned, is the fact that when you flame, Spyro's flame comes out in a cone in front of him. If you flame and then move, that cone moves with Spyro. So the way that Debbie got one of those frogs look just a little bit like a flame charge there, which is that same exact sort of concept, just applied to flaming and then charging. It's something Debbie's been doing the whole game and has gone sort of unmentioned, but there's a mechanic wherein enemies can be dispatched any number of ways, but if you'll notice, whenever something gets charged as a way to have it drop its gem, that gem automatically homes in on Spyro. So, if you flame something that you couldn't charge, and then charge, I think it's like a 1 frame leeway, if you flame and then charge immediately after, the game will think, oh, this enemy is dead, and Spyro is charging. It must have been killed via charging, so home this gem in on Spyro, and makes the gem collection just that much quicker. And again, it's one of those things that happens tons of times throughout the run, saving, a little bit of time each instance, but through the run as a whole, it's one of those huge time savers once you sort of master that mechanic.
Exactly. And each enemy, you have to be a different distance away on your flame charge. Ooh, missed that guy. And so it takes a lot of practice, a lot of knowledge to know exactly for each enemy and each chest where you can be sitting, or where you can start your flame charge to get the gem to home in on you.
Now, the level we're actually doing here is Treetops, and it has exactly 1 death abuse, I believe, and we're going to go ahead and do that now. But usually, sort of casually, the intended route is that thief we saw at the beginning runs through the entire level, and we're supposed to chase him and do just laps of the level using these supercharges and chaining them and doing all sorts of actually pretty difficult things for a casual level or a casual route, in order to just collect everything and see every bit of the level. However, if you're a speedrunner, you know that this level is incredibly broken, because supercharges are just absolutely silly. So getting to this platform usually requires chaining supercharges around the entirety of this level. But doing that sort of jumping and charging down onto the platform and hopping off of that corner in just the right way, you can just sort of glide over. In fact, there's a number of ways to get to that platform without charging around the entire map.
And all of them are faster too.
Exactly.
It's really sad. In fact, if you ever got stuck on this game as a casual player, maybe as a kid, the game intends you to chain all those supercharges together. The only clue it gives you is a green thief that you may have seen at the beginning of the level. You're supposed to chase him, like ignore everything else, chase him as fast as possible around the level, and he shows you the path to get over there. That green thief we managed to kill on the island. The camera was a little bit wonky, so you may not have seen it, but he drops a 25 gem, pretty valuable. But very, very tricky to get stuck on.
That was neat. We saw the red thief there. I don't know if we usually see him.
Yeah, usually I kill him a little bit earlier, but doesn't lose any time to
do
let him go
later.
Mm-hmm.
So here we've got a trick called Stone Knot, I hope. Nice. Well done.
Thank you.
Stone Knot is, again, one of those sort of fancy change the direction of your momentum using the polygons of the wall tricks, where you just run up to that wall boldly as though you know that it's actually a ramp, and you jump at the right time and you get right up there. Again, the sort of thing where they wanted you to do multiple supercharges together and sort of take a much, much longer path to get there. But you just say, hey, but like, you made a slope though. And now Metalhead. Metalhead is a fantastic level, and probably the most video game boss-like boss in Spyro. OG, Spyro 1998. He's got phases, he's got little minions he tosses at you, there's like little pylons, and which sort of function as a health meter. The only enemy, or the only boss, I believe, that you're not sort of directly flaming to do damage to. And if you count the pylons as sort of damaging him, the one with the biggest health meter by far.
Absolutely. It's a very interesting level to play through. We have this part here, which, like all the other boss levels, is the part before the boss, and we're racing. Yeah, we're racing through. We're racing through to try to get a cycle on the metal pylons. They're going to light up, on their own little timers, and once we get past a quick bridge here, we will be on the timer. We will be trying to get through it as fast as possible, so we make the cycle we want. We'll see if we manage that.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's the other thing that makes him incredibly video game boss-like. He's got a glowing weak point, actually many glowing weak points, that go invulnerable at certain periods of time. I guess at the start of the commentary I should have said, in this essay, I will argue that Metalhead is the most video game boss.
Yeah, if you want to keep that commentary up through, the rest of the game, I'm down with it.
As you continue to run. All right, Siddiqui, let us at him.
Okay, we missed the cycle just barely there. That's all right. We get teleported back here, so it's perfectly fine.
Nice. And as you saw that gem sort of home in on us, that was Metalhead having tossed one of his little monkey friends at us. Oh yeah, and yet another thing that makes Metalhead the most video game boss level in Spyro. He's got a little secret treasure hoard hidden behind a waterfall. So, take that, Legend of Zelda.
There's one blue gem that comes out of that gem fountain that really can mix things up. Here, we're a little bit off cycle, so let's... Oh,
look at that. Force lightning.
But yeah, the one of the benefits of this run is you really get to know some of the gems by name, as it were. There are very particular gems that in a normal 120 run, you just run straight by, Sparks will collect them for you. And there are certain gems that are very difficult in this. And you miss them all the time, you get to know them, you die because of them. It's a very, very, very strange relationship with these gems. But we got all of them, so we're good.
Nice. Oh, thanks for the good luck, Grinaldo.
Thank you, Granado.
Oh, man. No, oh, what?
What's up?
Sorry, it just looked like the fodder absorbed that flame.
It did.
Gotcha. Okay, then I just don't count to 3 properly. So that is something worth mentioning, and one of the things that made that room in Misty Bog quite difficult is that enemies in OG, in Spyro 1998, when they're defeated, their body sort of stays material and can absorb Spyro's flame, thus sort of blocking for other enemies. Makes typically in sort of any Spyro run, it makes the angles and lines that you take just a little bit more tricky. In Sparxless, even more so.
There we go. I think we got all the gems in that. Unfortunately, unlike most levels, we don't have like a little gem count at the end to know. So I'm going to be paying close attention to my gem count here to just make sure. I think we got all the gems we want. I'm just going to make sure.
Thanks. Now, this homeworld is Magic Crafters, right?
Yes.
And
no.
No?
Dreamweavers.
Dreamweavers. There we go. I always get those two mixed up. Dreamweavers is a place, at least for me, where fatigue can start to kick in. These levels are quite large and quite tricky. These fools that you see sort of hooting and hollering and hopping about are going to be instrumental in sort of changing the terrain. Now sort of you're in charge of that. Just one more thing to think about. And you'll see a lot of sort of, I guess, unique level design going on here. Things like haunted towers, for instance.
This world is... I know I said Bog has the hardest room in the game, but this level is the hardest and probably the most punishing.
Difficult enough that I'm going to take over commentary for Debbie so he can focus.
That was a nice little subtle clue here that I should be quiet.
So essentially what we're trying to do here for the speedrun is get to a door with that one super flame and then get to a bit of the level that you might not actually have seen if you do it casually, because it's tucked away pretty secretly. We're going to have to do a supercharged turnaround in pretty tight quarters here and take that supercharge across... Oh wow, very well done supercharged turnaround.
Thank you.
And we're going to take it across here, this massive gap. There's really not much of a hint that this is here. And once you get here, things don't get that much easier. There's sort of a gauntlet of these, I guess, knight suits of armor that you have to run past pretty quickly because there's a wizard sort of animating them. If you go too slowly, they will block your way and ruin your day.
Again. Sorry, I gotta try that again. There we go.
But your reward, should you get past them, like Debbie's doing effortlessly, is this fairy who, for whatever reason, her fairy kiss is permanent for the duration of this level. I don't know if there was something special about that kiss or what, but Spyro gets Super Flame for the entirety of being in this level, unless he dies. So, what we can do now that we've made it sort of this deep into the level and we've got this power-up, we don't have to do this back and forth that the level seems to intend, of going to a fairy with a typical Super Flame with a timer on it, and going back and forth and, get some of those knights and then go back and get some of the knights and go back. Instead, we can now just clear everything in sort of one loop. Of course, being especially careful since it's Sparxless, and if you lose that Super Flame, you either got to go way back to that ferry, or you got to do that back and forth. And it's one of those things where you kind of, as a speedrunner, will know in your head, like, am I far enough away from that? You know, that it's faster to actually just do the rest of the level as intended, or, you know, is this the kind of thing where I'm going to have to go back and be sad?
Oof.
Boy.
Yep. That was one place we might have gone back. Had you gone back and be sad.
Yeah.
Quick reactions negated that.
As you can see, this is a very non-trivial sort of thing. Danger lurks around every corner. Now here, oh boy. Okay, there's a bit of gem RNG there that's notorious, as Debbie was saying. You get to know the gems, you know, sort of by name. In that chest, when you sort of explode it open, there's a chance that one of the gems that jumps out of there falls off the world, and there is other places where that happens, and it can sort of home into you. I think that gem just is gone, and you have to take a death.
Yeah, it's very sad. It's you can really lose some paces, and if you don't know about that gem, and you happen to let it fly over the edge, you might be searching for, you know, minutes and minutes trying to find that gem. That one single red gem.
Oh, dang.
Oh,
sorry.
Oh.
No. Debbie, really wanting to raise the drama on this run. And now we're back to sort of the beginning and close the loop here. Just cleaning up and flaming everything, grabbing all these gems. Again, the kind of thing where being Sparxless makes this a little bit more time consuming and a lot more skillful to see. I guess skillful to do, it doesn't take much skill to watch.
And there we go.
Yeah. Those last two, by the way, were good examples of flame charges.
Well, I appreciate you saying they're good. Okay, we're going to take a quick death abuse here, warp back to the beginning of the level, and that's going to put us in a great place to get to the next world, which is Dark Passage.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder, everyone, this we're doing this run here for Clouds Play Charity, so if you, there we go. And so if you know, you can find it financially in your heart, financially in your wallet, I guess, to donate. I think we need, what is it, 30,000 more pennies, and we'll get to our target goal.
3,000. 3,000.
3,000. 30,000 would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you find it in your wallet and you have 30,000 pennies in there,
that's
cool.
a big
Like,
wallet.
That's a big wallet. You're very strong. Probably offload those to us. Get some rest, please. You're scaring everyone.
When, about how far into the run before you get to some of those dragons that you would listen to if we hit 700?
You know, anywhere.
Just at any point.
Yeah, there are a few here in, actually in the final homeworld, we can listen to a few. So it's a little bit of a spoiler. We'll be seeing some dragon names that you might recognize. Ooh, that was very close. As having freed, if you've been paying close attention. Those dragons they don't trust Spyro. They don't think he's getting through all this level and collecting everything. So they're going to try to fight Nasty themselves. Unfortunately, they get frozen in crystal, and so we have to free them once more. Some of them have pretty good dialogue. We can listen to them. Ooh, nice.
Yeah, good flop. Good flop. It was intentional.
Yes, everything in this run is intentional. Every death is a death abuse.
Yeah.
There we go.
Just more content.
That fodder, yeah.
Exactly.
That's a rude fodder. I will say, as I mentioned, the fodders can sort of, well, actually all enemies can absorb your flame and sort of stop you from getting to things. In that case, just then you saw one of these little mushroom fodder absorb one of the flames that Debbie was trying to get a fireworks chest with. I guess we haven't talked about what fodder is, so I'll explain that in a second. But the fodder in this homeworld are just some of the worst. Fodder movement is governed by RNG, and it can be quite the hassle on the Dreamweaver's homeworld. Or I guess just Dreamweaver's levels. And as for what fodder is, in case you didn't know, it's usually quite important for when you have Sparks. Fodder are these tiny sort of passive enemies that you can dispatch in order to have a butterfly spawn. That butterfly will then get eaten by Sparks, restoring one, I guess, stage of health and allowing Spyro to take one more hit. And if Sparks is gone, and you manage to destroy a fodder, Sparks will come back at green. However, of course, this is Sparxless, so all the fodder really do is get in our way, unfortunately.
Alright, coming to the end of Dark Passage here. This has gone fairly well. This is a deceptively difficult level. The enemies are not that much easier than those in Misty Bog that we saw.
Yeah.
You just have to know their cycles, though, and be ready for them.
I was going to mention one of the things that you sort of, if you're eagle-eyed, might notice is Debbie's doing a lot of sort of a slightly serpentine motion, just zigzagging as he gets towards these enemies, and that is because they are sort of starting to be a little bit more formidable to pay attention and home in from further away. They're firing a lot more projectiles rather than just running up and hitting him, and makes the whole thing a lot trickier, especially when you're trying to, again, cut those lines as close as possible, while also having to manually touch everything.
And that's all the gems in Dark Passage. Pretty good.
Oh, nice.
These guys make the best sounds, don't they?
I was gonna say those enemies are actually my favorite enemies. When they are large and they're just sort of doing their little like boop noise, it's so good. I don't know what it is, but I find that just hilarious. Absolutely my favorite. It's a shame they stand against us. If I could, I would recruit them, and I would recruit Dr. Shemp.
Recruit them to your cause?
To Spyro's cause. And make them allies. My cause as well, I guess. We're sort of on the same page, me and Spyro. No.
Nope.
Okay, well, I guess I have to
now
talk
we got
about
it, don't we?
Okay. Cool. Never mind.
Said bad aim. Come on. There we go. There we go.
Cool, we're good.
Bad cannon there.
Yeah, recruit them to my basketball team. Good call. Oh.
Chump would be great on a basketball team, wouldn't he?
I think so. Thanks for the good luck, Scott. Ooh, good catch.
Thank you.
2 of those out of the air. So now we're into Icy Flight, which, I mean, just a tough as nails flight. Casually as well as speedrunnerly, right? Yes?
It's a little bit tight here at the beginning. You're going to see me really making use of the edge of my flame to get things, because I want to make a cycle that happens in the second half of this flight. We'll see, depending on where the trains that are coming up are, whether we've made it. I'm a little bit slow here, but we'll see. Yep, oh, we're not making it, because we missed one of those.
Yeah. As I mentioned, right, in the flight levels, it's really just about using the very edge of your flame, and sometimes you're just a little eager, or you're trying to compensate for being a little bit behind from where you want to be, and you cut it too close and you miss something.
It's alright, we're not going to lose really any time from that.
Yeah.
Just maybe one little cycle, a few seconds.
Yeah. It's also, again, the kind of thing where in a casual run, that timer is, like, terrifying, but for a speedrunner, you end with, like, a pretty healthy amount of time.
Yep, we just have to chase this guy through the tunnel here because we missed that cycle. That's alright.
But that is a much easier animation skip. Usually this is one of the more difficult animation skips for Spyro, I guess, for the run.
Is that chest there? Yes.
Alright, Lofty Castle is just a sprawling level with a lot of interesting things to it. One of those things is that it's kind of the level of 1,000 routes. There's a lot of different ways that runners tend to approach this. Sparxless, I'm not sure if that's still necessarily the case, but in the typical sort of 120 run, you get people sort of doing kind of whatever they feel most comfortable doing, and they're all timed out to be roughly the same for a speed run. But you will see this level done just a myriad of ways.
Some of those ways, including the way I'm actually most comfortable with, we can't do here in Sparxless because they involve damage abuses. So you're going to see me do a little bit of a strange movement here. Ooh, that was a little close.
Yeah. This level is so large that there are sort of like loading planes within it. Nice. Thank you, Mudada. There are loading planes within the level, and those loading planes can cause you to sort of drop an input. That jump that Debbie made, where we both said, like, that was close. It's a jump that you necessarily have to do that sort of charge glide to get just a slightly longer glide. But you gotta do it with a timing that is really near where that level sort of loading section is. And as a result, it can drop that input, and you'll just sort of seem to jump off the cliff and charge down to your death.
Not like that. That was a little mistake.
More of a flop from that one.
Here, we get to try that one more time. This is why we have so many lives.
Yep.
There we go.
Nice. Very well done.
Alright, so you may see me freeing some of these fairies.
I was just gonna...
You and me on the same page, huh?
Yeah, you got it. Go ahead.
So these fairies are trapped in a cage. I guess that's the gimmick for this level.
Mm-hmm.
And when you free them, they make these little whirlwinds. And some of those whirlwinds, like that one, you do need, because we need these 15 gems up on that platform. And Sparxless, the only way to really do that is to free those fairies. But like this one over here behind me now, we don't really need them. So unfortunately, they stay trapped forever.
It's interesting.
This one's in our way, so we have to free it.
It's interesting how this reflects sort of Spyro's priorities as a creature, as a sentient being.
Right.
We need the gems, we need the eggs, we need the dragons. The fairies, take it or leave it.
Oop, I missed that red, unfortunately. There we go. Oh, missed that 2-gem. That's unfortunate. Still back there and get it.
You're right, Molly. In some cases, Spyro does make Nasty look like the good guy. I mean, to be honest, Nasty was kind of provoked. They were ridiculing him on Dragon television, I guess.
Yeah, why do the dragons have television but not electric lighting?
If they can fly, why do they have hot air balloons to get between worlds? So much deep lore yet to be explored in the Spyro universe.
Now, for me as a Sparxless runner, but who usually does normal 120s rather than these like Sparxless ones, doing a different route through this level means I don't have any memorized gem counts. So if we've missed a gem along the way, I really cannot I do not know. I cannot say. So we're going to come to the end here and we'll see, and hopefully we don't have to do any backtracking throughout the world and try to find where a missed 2 gem or something is.
Just very quickly, it's worth pointing out that we're about to see something very unique in this level, very unique in this game. Spring chests usually are higher value gems because they take that much more effort, but it's theorized that sort of there was some reconfiguring done when they realized, oh, this is huge and we want a certain gem count. We ended up with the only red spring chest
Right here.
game. Red spring chest hype.
If you have a hype emote, put it in chat. If you have a Debian3 hype emote, put that in chat. And we have a good gem count, so that's even more hype.
Yeah. That red spring chest is one of the ones where it's probably one of the first ones where, hey, I know that gem by name. I know it in particular. Again, the idea or the theory is sort of this game was more or less mapped out. They had a certain count of gems in mind, and they realized, like, oh goodness, we've kind of just put them all over the place. We've got way too many. We're gonna have to adjust some of these values, and in that level, you end up with the only red spring chest as a result. Now we're to our final non-nasty Nork boss, Jacques. It's a fun level, if a little twisty, and Jacques is a bit of a odd one, bit of a scary one again. There's like, it's not really a horror game, but there's a lot of scary stuff going on in Spyro.
Yeah, for a kid's game, right?
Yeah. I guess. Ooh.
Just a low dive there. Let's try it again. There
Oh.
we go.
A big thank you to Grinaldo donating $25. That's very generous. Thank you. We appreciate that.
That puts us just 500 guineas away from listening to some of our favorite dragons here.
Yeah, 5 doll hairs from.
In fact, you know, if someone gets that in the next few seconds here, there's one right here that I will be willing to. I'll give you a little bit of time here, or make a few mistakes.
Yeah, intentional. No way. Wow, well done. It is not trivial to be able to get in that little nook, grab that key and those gems, turn around and hop, across on that same sort of, I guess, rising cake, we call it.
All right, we're running by this dragon because he's the one I wanna listen to. So, if you can find it, it's $5. And you know what? Even if we don't get it in time, I'll donate $5 at the end of the run so we can listen to him.
Fair enough. This one goes out to you, Grinaldo. Don't cry. You will get a dragon for your tip. Man, just as quickly as we sort of saw him, we destroyed him. Goodbye, Jacques.
Yeah, right.
You weirdo.
Okay, we'll listen to this guy here. Actually, we are on PB pace, so I may only listen to this.
Unless, of course, someone donates $5 more.
Oh boy.
Advice. A wise dragon once told me, aim high in life, but watch out for flying boxes.
All right.
There we go. I may listen to only one more if we make that, because I did realize that we're actually
we're kind of doing
PB
pretty
pace.
good.
Peanut butter hype.
Praise big hype.
Yeah, we're on Praise Big Dog pace. DVD.
He praised Big Dog during his run.
Nice.
Nice. Wow, that was convenient.
Right? Yeah, that green. And so this is the end of the level here. We're gonna dispatch these. I love that euphemism. Thanks for it, BBD. We're gonna dispatch those enemies. I like this life because, why not? 11 lives is healthy. And then we're gonna just fly over here, collect these final gems, and then we're actually done with Dreamweavers.
There's a couple gems right outside of Jacques, right? Or did you already get those?
There are 15, yeah. So you should see 85 in the tens and ones column here. That's what I look for. And there we go. Perfect gem count. Look at that.
All right.
We touched
Here we go.
every gem so far manually.
1, 2, 3 5s, and we're ready. We're ready to confront Canasty Gnorc.
So this is the final homeworld in the game.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. There are fewer levels, and they all lead up to Nasty, the final boss. We're going to be making our way through them. One thing to note is that over there, that green dragon we saw when Spyro was jumping off the balloon, that is the super bonus round, the final loot level of the game. And so we're going to have to 100% this game, Sparxless of course, by beating Nasty, collecting everything along the way. We're going to have to listen to the credits, like a good 2 minute 30 second cutscene of just credits. We'll be sitting there, we'll be chatting, and not doing much. And once we do that, once we take that time loss and listen to the credits, then we're going to be going into the final level, which will be our 120%. That's why it's called a 120% run rather than a normal hundo.
Thank you very much to Molly Lolly for donating $5. That puts us at our goal of $700. Thank you very much. It's going to a good cause. Making Debbie listen to Cletus one more time.
Yeah. So we'll listen to a dragon in Twilight Harbor, which is the level right after this. Maybe we'll listen to Hamas here. No, we're on a good pace.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll do it during a different run. We'll make up for it. Listen to every dragon.
After the run, we can go back and listen to a few as well. Sure.
So you'll notice again, things ramp up as you get further into the game. At Nasty's homeworld, one of the sort of really notable things is there are way fewer dragons, which means there's less sort of like safety going on, right? If those dragons are your checkpoints, it's just longer stretches of more sort of complex enemies going on, lots more things exploding, and you're gonna have a slightly tougher time. And it's all industrial. It's kind of interesting.
We can leave that chest.
Yeah.
We have to come back for it, eh?
Exactly. You know?
You can save time here by ignoring Cletus. Perfect, right? So we have to run around this platform 2 times so we can get that strong chest. There is a way to take damage in a normal 120 route, a damage abuse strat there that allows us not to run around twice, but because we're Sparxless, we can't do any of those damage abuse strats. So we have to take the little bit of time loss here compared to a normal 120 route in Sparxless. Nice.
Well, sling. He was winding up. That was scary. Sorry, Tomas. We're doing really well right now. Ooh, nice. Yet another good parallel processing moment there.
So we have to use these to destroy these enemies here, and we got it in one shot.
Oh,
if you get the angle on them just right and the cycle just right, you can use one of those barrels to explode both of those big guys and to get this strong chest over here on the right. So I'm going to be looking for, after this room, I'm going to be looking for 52 in the 10s and 1s columns. That will tell me that I've gotten everything. We also just got a nice little RNG explosion there, or not RNG, but cycle-based explosion there. So we didn't even have to collect the key that we just collected. It just exploded for us. And there we go. 352, perfect gem count. Yeah, PB needed 3 barrels. That's absolutely right.
That glide looked a little low to me.
Some glides, they're visually very strange, you know? There are ones that look like you're not going to make it, and you do.
It's worth mentioning that here in Nasty's homeworld, because all the portals are hidden behind these dragon head sculptures, they only open if you've gone through the whirlwind at the end of the level in the previous level. So, had we sort of done the slightly quicker thing to menu and exit level, as you've seen Debbie do a number of times here, pretty large number of times here, it wouldn't sort of work. We'd have to sort of go through that level again and go get to that whirlwind. Thankfully, sort of, Debbie knows what he's doing and has gone through that whirlwind instead.
Sometimes you can not have the presence of mind if you miss a gem, and you get the gem, you exit level, and realize you have to go through the level again. You have to go back in and exit out that portal. So it's always good to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I've done 1 or 2 runs of this game myself, and I had definitely forgotten that. A really interesting feature, to sort of slightly change the topic, of the enemies here is that they have guns, and they are firing at you what look to be Doritos. If you want to drop some Dorito emotes in chat in honor of them, please do. Because these enemies no longer do this. In the Reignited trilogy, the remakes of Spyro, they saw fit to remove the Doritos from these enemies and give them these interesting, like, purplish, pinkish goop balls. They fire essentially paintball guns, I think. It's pretty sad. I think there was some instance of parents being upset about the use of Doritos as like a weapon or some such.
Yeah, they also wanted the Splatoon crossover, you know?
Yeah. In any case, Doritos hype.
Okay, this is
our boy.
Cletus. We're going to listen to him.
Our boy. Look how bouncy he
Be on
is.
the lookout for Nort Commandos, Spyro.
They better be on the lookout for me.
So Cletus is my favorite dragon. 1, because his name is Cletus, so I kind of like that. But 2, because we're going to death abuse twice and warp back to him. We want to use his supercharge as much as possible, so we're going to do it here. Get up that ramp that I made using the drawbridge. We're going to collect these gems here. And then we're going to take a death. We have the lives to do it. I'm not really worried. That's going to warp us back to Cletus. What that allows us to do is do a little quick turn here, jump back up on this ramp, get a little bit of supercharged momentum by jumping onto the ramp, and work our way back into the level to get a strong chest that we ran by, as well as these 6 gems. And there we go. But now we're all the way back here. This is a little bit far away from where we want to be, so we take a second death abuse, and that warps us back to Cletus, and we just continue on like this.
We just keep coming back to Cletus. We don't know how to quit him.
If we had listened to the first time Cletus appears, he would have told us, hey, you know, thanks for freeing me, Spyro, but I'm a little busy here, I gotta go. He was going to fight Nasty Nork, and this is as far as he made it, so, you know, officially we have beat Cletus' PB.
Yeah. Higher completion percentage. Ooh. Nice.
Oh. There we go.
Oh, well done. So again, we just gotta go through this whirlwind here. I think this is the level where I, in my one of like 5 runs, hopped out via menu instead of whirlwind. And it's not an easy level to sort of just run through as quickly as possible, ignoring everything. And now, we confront the guy, Nasty Nork. Nasty Nork is interesting because even though he's the final boss, he's also kind of the weakest boss that we face. It only takes 2 flames to do away with him, to compromise him to a permanent end. But first we have to chase down a couple of thieves who are holding keys this time instead of eggs. And there are some speedrun strats to get those thieves quite quickly, but in the 120 we don't really need to make too much use of them because we've got to collect everything anyway. And we're going to be running down this hallway anyway, and it may actually be somewhat quicker to just let them be in our path as we'll naturally do it. So now we clean everything.
Exactly, we clean up the gems here, and we're about to chase Nasty down.
Yeah. Now, chasing Nasty down is a thing that is really not trivial, even casually. But doing so with one cycle where you get everything is so tight. If you sort of miss or stutter or balk at all, you have to do a second lap chasing this guy.
Luckily, I think we're good. There's one red gem there that always trips me up, and if you miss him, well, you have to go through it twice. But I managed to get that red gem, so I think we're good.
May just be. Just one cycle Nork. Nice.
Almost just the 5 gem.
Yeah, that was a little wobbly. We got it. We got it. We for sure got it.
There we go.
There's the first flame. Gives us a little shove as he runs away. It's like pretty top heavy, this guy.
Yeah, it really skips leg day, doesn't he?
But I mean, look at the vertical. He's like probably got really powerful calves or something.
He's the one we want on the basketball team.
Yeah.
All right.
Boom.
So we collect these
toast.
100 gems here. We have to wait for these credits to play out. We have a little cutscene, but timer's still running. We have one more level to go. We'll just be chatting here while we listen to some credits.
It's a good time for Debbie to sort of like take a sip of water, stretch out his fingers, really get ready to do some impressive stuff. This
Well, mostly.
like I'll be quiet for this cutscene.
What will you do next?
I'd say the sky's the limit.
Grinaldo, you bring a good point, but we don't have a good history with that. There's a thing called poverty skip, which is it's credit skip, but you kind of like manipulate your hardware to skip the credits for you. You essentially have to open up your disk tray at a very specific time so that it doesn't load the rest of the credits, I believe, and then you close it after a little bit, and it just so it says like, well, I don't know what happened, and puts you right back to that home world, the Nasty's world. But I believe that the few times that Debbie has tried that, it has gone not great. And so we're not going to do that. I believe I saw the first ever credit storage where Debbie did that. The game kind of crashed. We put the disc back in, and it loaded in the credits again later.
So it actually lost time and then crashed. So credit manipulation, credit poverty credit skip is a little bit of hardware manipulation that is allowed in the community, but like all hardware manipulation, it is dependent on the hardware. On emulator, most emulators at least, it works, I think 100% of the time if you do it right. On my PS2 that I'm playing here on, I have like a 1 in 3, 1 in 4 chance of it just crashing. Perfect execution, just the console crashes and the run dies, and that's kind of sad when you've just 100% of the game and you're waiting to get that last 20% in the final level. So I avoid poverty skip for moral reasons as well as functional reasons.
Debbie takes a moral stance against poverty.
And that's why you should donate to Child's Play charity.
Yeah, please do. So, first of all, the music in this portion is incredible. It's again with the bass, it's like crisp. Shouts out to Stuart Copeland. What we're gonna get ready to see is the freeing of one last dragon before we get into the loot level, Nasty's loot. It's sort of, again, a very 90s kind of, no sheep were harmed. A few Norks though. It's a very 90s kind of video game thing where it's like, hey, you beat the game, here's more game as a result. Oh, and we get an ad.
We got an
ad.
ad.
Yeah, an ad could have come at a better time. But it's
That's
fine.
right.
We're just grabbing this final dragon and heading into loot after we collect a few more gems.
Okay, since you're watching an ad, spoiler, I did just get into Nasty's world. We didn't miss any gems. 100% done. We need that extra 20% though.
Yeah, the ad is just about done. 2, 1, and we're back. Perfect.
Hey, perfect. Start of the level.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone.
So this level is unique even amongst flight levels because it's got loot, it's got gems and stuff. But beyond that, there's actually a height cap. Spyro's not sort of free-flying in the way you might think, and the game doesn't do anything to explain that to you. if you make it this far, I guess they don't want to underestimate you as a gamer, but it's not obvious what's happening. What you're supposed to do is chase down these thieves that are hidden, in various parts of this level, and when you get them, you get a key. This key will grant you access to an area that has stairs of some kind, and those stairs will allow you to sort of jump and glide from a higher up place. The height cap for how high Spyro can fly is based on him having opened these things and jumped from a particular height. So as you continue the level, you get access to more of the level, and more of the treasure, more of the loot.
Hey, I have a quick audio cue here, so I'm going to just ask for a second of silence. There we go.
Nice. So getting that plane quickly, that's a thief in a plane, is based on hearing the fact that he's sort of coming from behind you and getting closer, and you can just sort of flame at the right time to have him charge ahead into your flame. Now this one's a little bit trickier. There's also sort of a fast strat. Wow,
Beautiful.
well done, well done.
You didn't get that.
Yeah.
That's a lot trickier than it may have seemed. Requires a very precise movement there to get that, to bait that plane to go, and then to flame at exactly the right time, well before you see him, to get him to fly. So get you to flame him while he's flying away. So that's actually a lot more precise, and it saves quite a bit of time.
Good reminder from Arugula to not charge the final chests. That's a pretty... If you're at the very end of the game, you've done your whole 120-ish Sparxless, and you're sort of fatigued and you don't think about it. That last room, what usually you do in 120% is you just go in, it's got a ton of fireworks chests with a ton of pink gems, and you just charge. You just hit the things and you have them explode quickly. Of course, in Sparxless, you can't do that. You'll die, and then you lose a bunch of time as you have to get those thieves and get this height cap all over again.
So time is coming. Time is coming up here in less than maybe 20 seconds. It will be the first frame of black once we enter the portal right outside this room. So we're coming up in about 10 seconds here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Time. Well done. GG. GG's in chat.
Missed my button, but I think you've got a more accurate timer anyway.
Yeah.
That was a PB by about 2 minutes, so I'm pretty happy about that. Fun showcase PB.
With Cletus.
Yeah, with listening to
Cletus.
Cletus as well. Cletus PB?
Wow, yeah.
What's a minion?
Oh, thanks for all the GGs, everyone.
Yeah.
Exciting thing.
Every good battle, you need a good adversary. And I felt
Congratulations also in Debbie's chat to the people who said, I believe. Debbie did, in fact, beat 2 hours and 15 minutes, so she's in the outcome of that. Yeah.
So, first of all, thank you, magFAST, for allowing me to do this showcase run. I'm so glad we got $100 here. We hit our goal of $700 for Child's Play charity. Thank you for all your generosity. Thanks, praise Big Dog for being on excellent commentator here for this run. He put in a lot of work here to learn not just the 120, but now the Sparxless 120. So definitely go give him a follow if you can. Really good guy, and I'm really happy to have him here on my comms.
Yes, I'm very nosy. I like to know what Debbie's up to. It's interesting knowing comms for a thing I don't actually run.
There we go. Wow. $700 for Child's Play charity. magFAST is doing some pretty great things.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for running this and for having me do commentary. It's neat. I like being able to sort of participate in whatever way I can.
Right there. So that's the run here.
Yeah, now we get the credits again.
Are these the same credits?
I think they're different levels, but the same credits.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, excellent
Stuart
job.
Copeland there. Shouts out.
Both of you. You both did great. This was a very enjoyable run, very interesting. Shame you made it look so easy.
Seriously.
I appreciate that.
I was trying not to mention it, but just a series of golden splits, which means fastest he's ever done it. For those sort of still hearing and aren't sure what that is.
Yeah, it was about a dozen. It was a very good run.
I was
Very happy about that.
I think you got a slew of like 4 at some point. I was really biting my tongue to not mention it. How much did you gold haunted by?
We'll check by a little bit. Anyway, thanks everyone for hanging around, and thanks for all the donations to Child's Play. That was awesome.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
All right, do you want to close us out here,
Me?
Josh?
Yeah, sure. Well,
okay.
I think you've both outroed, but any final words before I outro?
Be excellent.
Be excellent. Go give Praise Big Dog a follow. He's here on comms. Praise Big Dog. Let me type that in chat for you. And my name is Devian Chan. I do this all the time, mostly this category or the normal 120. And so if you like what you saw, you can, come find me on Twitch, and we do this more and more.
You know what? I will give a plug actually for Debbie, even beyond what he said here. He's got a Discord channel, or a Discord server rather, wherein he sort of hosts a little bit of the Spyro community, does some OG Spyro 120% speedruns as a community, like a little race, just a friendly thing. I believe it's first Saturday of every month. Usually.
Yeah, so next Saturday.
Yeah, and it's a good time to either watch or to participate. I myself have even participated, and let me tell you, you can end several hours after everyone else is done, and they'll still hang out and have fun, and, like, help you, honestly. So
That's great.
highly recommend.
Excellent. Well, cool. Thank you both. This is magFAST Saturday Showcase number, I don't even know, we've lost track. We're going to do this every Saturday all the way until next year, magFAST 2024. So I hope to see you again next week. Oh, let me see. What's on the schedule? Castlevania. Yeah, so next Saturday we're going to have Johnny Go and Just Lee Belmont doing Portrait of Ruin, Castlevania Portrait of Ruin co-op randomizer. So those two are funny. It should be a bunch of shenanigans. Yeah, and if you have fun and you like magFest or magFAST, definitely feel free to join the Discord or hang out or participate. We got a bunch of Saturdays to fill, and most of them are open. So if you've got something you'd like to show off and help us raise more money for Child's Play charity, 700 so far, and we'll keep going for the next full year. Would love to have you. See you in chat or in Discord or in person at a future event. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next Saturday.
Thanks for watching.